It's time for another tale from the glass-guarded world with Brian as Paxton the human cleric and me, Mike, as the DM. Our heroes are in jail in the city of Two, with Paxton having been identified as a dangerous observer known as Frith, though Paxton of course has no memory of a life before his current one. Athelflaed and Tara have been interviewed by Zentha. Both have given glowing descriptions of Paxton's moral character. Now it's Paxton's turn. Can he convince the wizened green cloak to give him a chance? Or is his head likely to be separated from his shoulders? You and your friends were arrested at the council meeting in the city of Two after you decided that it was unwise to try to fight the city guards. Lumpen was terrified and you balled it up and hid it under your armor. You were escorted to the jail and your possessions were taken from you. You cleverly pretended that Lumpen was a large handkerchief, because that's pretty much what he looks like. But once you were placed in your cell, you were disappointed to find that Lumpen was inanimate. Your spells are also suppressed. You think maybe there's an anti-magic zone that has been imposed on the jail or the jail area. You are currently sitting in your cell. It's at the very back of the jail, past all the other cells, down its own separate hallway, with a door separating it from the rest of the jail area. You've been here for several hours, though it's hard to keep track of time in here. There's no window to the outside. Your friends are probably in other cells somewhere nearby, but you haven't been able to speak to them. Your cell is pretty large. It's about 10 feet by 20 feet, but you're chained to the west side of the cell, and your mobility is limited. Nearby are a cot on the floor, a bedpan, and a bowl of water close to the door. On the other side of the cell is a wooden table with straps for arms and legs. You're not sure how it's used exactly, but the black stains on it don't look promising. There's also an annoying drip in the room, forming a puddle next to the table. They must clean it up periodically because it doesn't look like it drains anywhere. Any questions about anything here in the jail?
So I don't have my weapons on me.
You've been put into a tunic.
Okay, so I don't have my armor on me either.
No, you're wearing a wool tunic, and that's it.
And Lumpen is just a rag.
Yep.
But he's still in the room with me.
He's in the room with you, or it is in the room with you, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to misgender Lumpen.
No,
we don't.
Yeah. Lumpen doesn't think about gender.
Yeah.
An elderly elf walks into the room. She's a bit on the short side, maybe a bit under 5 feet tall, with long white hair, a slight limp, and skin that is leathery with age or sun exposure. She's also wearing a forest green cloak and has several scrolls tucked under her arm. She stares at you as the jailer brings in a chair and a small table and sets them down in front of her. Then the elf sits down, puts down the scrolls, and gets out a quill and a vial of ink. And she says,
I'm afraid of what you're gonna say here, but I guess I gotta go through the formalities. Please state your name and occupation for the record.
Paxton, and I am a traveling cleric.
So you're sticking with the Paxton thing. That's fine. You can call yourself Bungo the Barbarian for all I care. My name is Zentha. I'm a green cloak. You know the green cloaks? That doesn't matter anyway.
I don't. Why don't you tell me what a green cloak is?
We collect information for the city council. You know, unkind term might be spies, but I think traveling collectors of information is a better term.
I'm guessing you collect information with that over there, and I look over to the table with the straps on it.
We try not to use that if we don't have to. We have had to resort to that in the past.
I tell you what, I don't want to make any waves, so, I'm telling you right up front that I got nothing to hide. And in fact, I think I have just as much to learn from you as you have to learn from me. So I want to state from the beginning that I'm going to be very cooperative.
That's so nice to hear. I don't hear that often, and frankly, I don't believe you a word you say there. But we'll see how it goes, all right? So, your friends say you don't know anything about being anyone but Paxton, right?
That is correct.
Yeah, they speak very highly of you. Here's the thing, though. We know who you are, right? We got the evidence from all the people you've gotten killed here in the past. All the observers who lost their lives, thinking they were doing the right thing, because you gave them some special inside information. Freelsdom, Stotholian, Snud, Ephanus. These names mean anything to you?
Sure don't. Sorry.
I could go on if you want.
I don't think it'll do much good.
No, you're not gonna own up to any of them, huh?
No, I can't own up to what I don't remember.
I gotta say, I'm impressed that you're sticking to this amnesia thing.
Yeah, I'm not saying that I'm not this Frith character. I very well could be. I just don't know.
Uh-huh. I guess I sort of admire that. I'll tell you what. I'll pretend for a few minutes that you don't remember. I'll tell you how it looks from our perspective, the perspective of the people who run this city, okay?
Sure.
Right. So about 200 years ago, people around the world start treating observers bad, real bad, like killing them or running them out of town if they're lucky.
I've heard that much.
Yeah? All right. So this gets worse over time because, some of them try to stand up for themselves, and that only makes people angrier, see?
Mm-hmm.
So now the Great Forest, we're more enlightened, The council starts taking in observers, giving them a home, but it's not shouting about it because we don't want any paranoid zealots coming in after us for being nice, right? You following so far?
Oh, yeah, totally.
Right. So then the strange things start happening. There's an attempt to overthrow the council, and a couple other people leading the revolt are observers. So we use Speak with Dead and some other tricks, they're confidential. Secrets of the trade,
Mm-hmm.
And we come to find out that they think the council is made up of doppelgangers who want to break through the walls of the world. Now, we took this real serious like at first.
Mm-hmm.
Right, I heard from one of your friends that you guys had run into a doppelganger just doing exactly that, right?
Indeed.
Yeah, so we looked into all the council members and both consuls, and you know what? Not doppelgangers. Now, I'm not saying there aren't any doppelgangers around, and I'm not saying there aren't people who want to break through the walls of the world. I'm saying there aren't any of them in the council, and never have been, right?
Sure.
But it doesn't stop there. A few years later, there's another attempt, and another. They don't all have the same conspiracy theory either. One group even said they had good information that the council was made up of werewolves. Yeah, that was my reaction too.
Yeah.
You serious? Most of the time, these are good people. They think they're doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
Eventually, we start thinking this is just bigger than some confused people, right?
Mm-hmm.
We start asking different questions. And eventually, everything starts pointing back to one person. Guess who that was?
Frith.
Yeah, Frith. Some guy named Frith. Now, Frith had been around the forest a bit from time to time. Everybody thought he was so nice, he had a way with words,
Mm-hmm.
We didn't know he was an observer. Not right away. Eventually, after some clever detective work, if I do say so myself, we find out that he's been feeding these groups misinformation and planting false clues, leading them to their deaths over and over. And you know what? Even here in the Great Forest, where we're supposed to be peaceful and all that, people started getting nervous. Nervous about observers.
Mm-hmm. I can imagine.
Can you see where this is going?
I sure can.
Where do you think it's going?
It sounds like you think that this Frith fellow was, maybe setting up for some kind of big final fight to overthrow the Great Forest. And
Yeah.
I'm guessing that since y'all fine folks still are here, he must have failed.
Yeah, you're not far off, yeah. So observers start having a harder time in the forest, particularly outside the bigger settlements. The country folk, they don't have the time to run the numbers, and figure out whether the observers are mostly safe or sort of safe or whatever. They hear that the observers are dangerous. I don't know how many observers ended up dead, buried under some rotten log out in the woods, but, probably quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
The remaining observers, they stay in the cities and the towns, but they keep trying to overthrow the council. At one point, we managed to get some intel that took us to a safe house that belonged to this Frith guy. You know what we found in it?
What's that?
Not much. It was a smart one. He left before we got there. And he didn't leave much behind, but he did leave this scroll.
So she hands you a scroll.
Why no answer? Why no answer? You used to listen to us. My thoughts most. Is it a test? Are there too many to listen to? I can silence the others. Me. Focus on me. What is outside? Why are you outside? Who are you? Why were you listening to us? Why aren't you listening to us? Why don't you want to you don't want to sacrifice? I have given you so many. So much blood for you. If you can tell me what you want, I can stop. Listen, listen, listen. Listen, listen. This is some crazy stuff, man.
Yeah. So, any of that sound familiar?
I mean, it Doesn't sound familiar in the sense that I've seen this exact scroll before, but I have come across a few observer rooms where there were signs on the wall saying to kneel and commune in peace, and I get the impression that observers are communing with some sort of higher power, even though I can't even begin to imagine what kind of higher power there might be in this kind of world.
Yeah, well, I've been around a long time, right? I mean, I've seen observers do it before, where they're just walking along, and all of a sudden they just stop talking, and they just kneel down, and they start communicating with something else, right? I don't know what it is, but it never hurt anybody. So, but eventually they stop doing it, and they don't know why, and most of them didn't seem to care too much, but it seems to bother this Frith guy quite a bit.
Yeah, it seems like whoever they were communing with stopped communing back.
Right. So, the handwriting look familiar at all?
Not really.
Now, I will say that Paxton, I can't remember you having ever written anything.
I can barely read. I'm afraid my handwriting's nothing to write home about.
Yeah, I mean, as the DM, I'm saying I can't remember any event in the game in which Paxton wrote anything.
I would think that he would not write too much other than maybe to, like, sign his own name to a document or something
Right.
if he had to.
Right. Paxton may not even know what his handwriting looks like if you haven't written anything.
Well, he also left some weird drawings, maybe, we think maybe the drawings of the sun. Some of them didn't look quite right, but I guess that's what you get for staring at the sun, right?
You got those drawings around?
I didn't bring those with me, I'm afraid, no. They just look like a, kind of like a circle or a ball or something.
Like
You know what I mean?
Maybe like the Oculus?
Yeah, except I think they're supposed to be glowing. The Oculus doesn't glow,
Oh.
you know.
Okay.
So anyway, this Frith guy leaves town and he doesn't come back.
Mm-hmm.
The coup attempts, they keep coming until finally this FNS lady, she leads the last one. She was apparently tight with this Frith guy. We think maybe they had something going on at some point, you know what I mean? Anyway, it ends like all the others. They figure out that they fight to the death, but this time she names names. She says it's a Frith all the way. And he put her and everybody else up to it. And she says he's the last observer. And maybe that's what he wanted all along. Fits with the note, right?
I guess so. Was FNS an observer?
Yeah, she was an observer too.
Is there any reason to believe she might not have been the one doing everything and pinning it all on Frith?
It's possible, but...
I'm not trying to shift the blame or anything.
Yeah.
I don't know one way or another.
It's possible, but the evidence seems to suggest that Frith is behind it. He's the last one left standing, and lots of other people said that Frith had told them some secret information about the dangers of the council.
I see.
So anyway, this Frith guy, he's you, right? I do know. I don't know who this.
I mean, that's what you say.
Right, but I do know. I don't even know. Now, I don't know if you're the last observer, right? I wouldn't even know how to figure out if that was true, but I do know that this Frith guy is a real fine kettle of fish.
Well,
Real piece of work.
I can tell you one thing. One thing that I've learned is that observers have some kind of gem on their body somewhere, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, how about this? I'll tell you what. Before we continue any further with this, I'm going to make it real easy on you. You're a green cloak, and your job is to get information, right?
Yeah, that's right.
So I cannot imagine any green cloak worth their salt wouldn't have Zone of Truth on them, right?
Yeah, here's the thing. I can't cast it here in the jail because it's an anti-magic zone.
Would you like to shackle me up and take me outside of the anti-magic zone?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a moment.
Okay.
That's a possibility. But
Okay.
So, but what I can do though, I can check the back of your head because
Yeah, go for it.
according
And I
to-
lift my head up immediately and shove it towards him.
according to FNS, there should be a purple gem back there.
Okay.
Good place to hide a gem under all that hair. Oh man, when's the last time you took a shower?
I don't get the option very often.
Let's see. It ain't there.
Yeah, but you see there's a big, dent there,
Yeah,
right?
it's like a big dimple here, like the opposite of a bump.
Yeah, I think there used to be a gem there, but it wasn't there. My first memory is of that gem not being there, but of there being some, crumbly little crystal shards in there. I think I fell and bumped my head and busted that crystal.
She steps back and has sort of a look of horror on her face.
He says, "What'd you do to yourself? What are you up to?
What do you mean?
I ain't never heard of observers removing their gems."
No, I didn't do it on purpose.
Uh,
I was in the middle of some sort of battle against some soldiers. I don't know who they were, but whenever I woke up, had no gym in the back of my head, and all those soldiers were dead. Poor guys. I have no idea why they were coming after me, but if I'm who you say I am, then they probably were in the right, and I imagine I was in the wrong.
Where was this exactly?
I think it was somewhere around about outside of the free cities. That's at least where I kind of came to and started my new life.
I don't know what to make of that. You got some explaining to do, to say the least. But you want to keep your head. You want to make life easier for your friends.
I want to make life easier for everyone. I don't want to cause no waves.
So anything else you know, start talking.
Let's see. So aside from that whole hole in the back of my head, I do believe that I am an observer. If you tell me I'm an observer, I believe you. I have opened a few doors that appear to be for observers only, which kind of furthered my assumption. One of them was right here in the Great Forest.
You got into the observer tower?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, so I mean, I want to know who I am and where I came from and what's going on, because you can imagine if you had amnesia, you'd want to know about your life beforehand, especially if you assumed that you were an observer. That sounds like a pretty interesting story, right?
Yeah, I guess so. So what were you and your friends doing here in the city?
Well, we've been traveling around, investigating why the Gods River stopped. Yeah, and we were at Mun's house, Mun the Immortal, and we heard that the Hilt River stopped, and we were sent to. We were supposed to tell the council about the Hilt River stopping.
Yeah, that's what your friend Tara said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ethelflad. I gotta say, Ethelflad. That lady seems a little confused about what's going on. She's a little
Lighty.
Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah, she doesn't seem real clear on exactly why you're here. In fact, she seems to just be following you guys around because she likes you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. They're all good people, I'm sure you'll find. I wouldn't be hanging out with them if they weren't. It breaks my heart to hear that I've been kind of a jerk.
Well, I gotta say, I can't make you any promises here. The court's gonna have to decide what to do with you, but being cooperative can only help you.
Yeah, justice is justice. If I wrong these people like you said they did, then I deserve whatever I'm getting.
So you don't remember anything at all, nothing at all, huh?
Not before waking up with that crystal busted.
Huh. All right, so what's your plan? Supposing that the council, it doesn't seem real likely, I gotta tell you, but supposing the council decides to let you go, right, where are you going next?
We're heading through the Great Forest towards the Iron Empire, because I believe there's some sort of bubble over there that may have something to do with the river stopping.
Yeah, that's sort of what your friend Tara said. She said something about going to find the truths of foresight. Right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I can't imagine why. As I told her, traveling through the Iron Empire when things are starting to heat up here, I'm not sure that's a good idea. It's not a good place to be. But I don't know. You guys seem real determined. Anyway, tell you what I'll do. We could use a zone of truth on you. There are ways around a zone of truth, but it's a start,
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that magic doesn't work here in the prison, so we're going to have to take you someplace else. Now, doing that's going to require approval and some more guards and a whole mess of other stuff, so I tell you what. You just stay here for now. You think about if there's anything else you want to tell me.
Sure.
I'll come back probably tomorrow, and we'll see what else we can get out of you. If that don't work well, we can start looking into more drastic measures, but then we can get you into court and see what the council says.
Sure.
Sound reasonable?
Sounds good to me.
All right. Anything else you need to tell me before I get out of here?
I can't think of anything.
Okay. All right. Well, it's been real nice talking to you, Frith or Paxton or whatever you want to call yourself. What are you gonna call yourself here? You want me to call you Frith? Or you want me to call you Paxton? What do you want? What name you want in the record here?
Well, I chose Paxton because I heard that Pax is a old word in the Free Cities for peace, and I found myself to be kind of a peaceful character, and I feel like if I take on the name Frith, that's going to come with the psychic weight of all those bad things you said I did, and I don't identify with that, so I'd prefer it if you call me Paxton, but I'd understand if you call me Frith too. You just
that's interesting.
Yeah.
You know an old common? Do you know an old common back in the old days when I was little? Frith meant peace.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that interesting, huh?
Yeah, that doesn't sound like the name fit.
Well, I guess there's more than one way to get peace, right?
I suppose so.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. So, all right. Well, you have a good night's rest. You're gonna need it tomorrow.
Alrighty, you have a good night. And I shake their hand.
and I'll talk to you then.